Hello, I am Margot Zaher, empowerment and relationship coach and Amazon bestseller of the book, The Golden Cage from Entrapment to Empowerment. And I am here today to share with you 5 strategies to increase self-love. The first strategy is to become aware of your story. What are those thoughts that you are having that are actually a story, something that you've made up about yourself that's not necessarily true? One story that I had for a long time in my life was that I was not lovable because people were not inviting me to different events, to parties, for instance. Once I really discovered that that was a story and not the truth, I was able to let go of it and see what was true. I invite you to look at what your stories are in your life and how those are holding you back. The best way to do that is to journal and write those down. And once you've written them down, do not read them. Simply burn them or shred them and say out loud, I let this go. The second strategy that I've used very successfully is to forgive myself. We all make mistakes. In fact, that's a part of being human. So it's very important to let go of the weight of being guilty or feeling bad that we've done something that we think is wrong or that perhaps was wrong in the past. So the best technique I have found for letting go of the past and truly forgiving yourself is the following 3-step process. The first step is to visualize or imagine that younger you, that part of you that was a part of the scene where you made the mistake. The second thing is to say out loud words of forgiveness to this part of yourself. You could say something like this: I forgive you. I forgive you for making this mistake. You were just doing the best you knew with the resources you had at the time. The third step is to hug yourself, to visualize and imagine that you're hugging yourself, and you can squeeze yourself kind of like I'm doing. And feel that love for yourself, that past self, that younger you, and how you do forgive yourself for making that mistake. The more you practice this, the deeper those feelings of self-forgiveness will become. The third strategy that has supported me immensely is shifting judgment to self-compassion. So a lot of the times I find myself to be judgmental towards myself when I might not be towards others. For instance, I forget something at home and I'm like beating myself up for forgetting it. So when I hear the voice that says, what a stupid thing to do, what I do is I imagine that I'm crossing that sentence out. What a stupid thing, Margot. How stupid you are. Those kind of sentences. I imagine that I'm crossing them off with a big red marker. Then I say something very compassionate to myself, like, it's okay, Margot. You were just doing the best you could. I know that what's the most important is that I focus on that compassion. And for me, what was key was finding the right words that made me feel compassionate towards myself. So I recommend that you experiment with the words that open your heart and allow you to feel more self-compassion. Strategy number 4 is to do 5 minutes of magnificence a day. We are all inherently magnificent beings with talents and abilities that we may forget because we spend our time comparing ourselves to others and finding ourselves wanting. This, unfortunately, is something I've also suffered from in my life. And what I found helpful was to make a magnificence list. Write down those things that you really are proud of, that you know you were shining your brilliant light. So for instance, they could be something like personal achievements, what you love about yourself, what other people admire about you, how you help other people, your unique talents and abilities. All of those things are great things to put on your magnificence list. Then what I recommend doing is spending 5 to 10 minutes a day focused on this magnificence list. Just sit there and read a couple of those statements and then remember back to the time when you either did that accomplishment or to a time when you were really embodying that magnificence, and let that energy of magnificence grow in your being. Strategy number 5 is the following. It is sending yourself love daily. There are 2 different ways that you can do this as you go through your day. The first one is focused on using a handheld mirror. So hold up a mirror in front of your face and look deeply into your eyes. Really connect with yourself. And as you do that, say out loud, I love you, followed by your name. So for instance, for me, it would be, I love you, Margot. Say it with the energy of love. I love you, Margot. And keep saying that as you look into your eyes. I would recommend that you say it at least 5 to 10 times. Then you can move on to saying more things you do love about yourself. I love your eyes. I love your hair. I love your energy. I love how helpful you are to others. All of those are good examples of what you could say to yourself to really promote that feeling of self-love. The second way that I use the I love you exercise is in my daily routine. For instance, when I take a shower is a great time to use this, or when I'm drying my hair, going on a walk, or perhaps standing in the line at a grocery store. All of those are great times to use the I love you mantra. The more you repeat this to yourself, the more these feelings of self-love can grow in your being. I am super excited for you to try out any and hopefully all of these strategies and see what they do in your life and how they increase your own levels of self-love. Thank you so much for listening today. Have an amazing one. Goodbye for now.